Welcome to Broncos Weekend, presented by Ent Credit Union, the official banking partner of the Denver Broncos.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Broncos Weekend. I'm your host and Denver Broncos team reporter, Elisa Hernandez, and next to me is lead writer at DenverBroncos.com, Aric, DiLalla, and Denver 7's Brady King. It's week 6, and the Broncos are riding a 3-game winning streak after defeating the Las Vegas Raiders for the first time since 2019. They now look to host another divisional rival in the Los Angeles Chargers. And to start, what a turnaround for this Denver team.
Yeah, I think it has to do with having me on the show, right? Since that started, we've been rolling here. So maybe I won't be going anywhere. No, this team has looked really good over the last few weeks. I think it starts, obviously, with the defense playing at a really high level, and then the offense finding a way to score some points, but also not turn the ball over, not take a lot of sacks, play complementary football, and it's resulted in wins.
I think you said it right there, find a way. It hasn't always been pretty, specifically in the first half of these games, but the Broncos have found a way week after week to stack these wins, and that's why they're sitting at 3-2. It's been fun to watch.
And you look at quarterback Bo Nix, he's the first Broncos rookie in franchise history to win 3 consecutive starts in a row. What has impressed you the most from where the season has started until now?
Yeah, I think it's, again, avoiding those negative plays. I talked to Bo way back in June and asked, how do you play fast? How do you take chances without worrying about making mistakes? And he said it's about not making the critical mistakes, and that specifically is no interceptions, no picks during this 3-game win streak, and don't take a lot of sacks. Sacked 3 times last week, but other than that, had 2 straight games without taking a sack. That's been the biggest change.
Yeah, he's a hard sack, which Coach has said multiple times, so I think that stands out. And I personally love just seeing his personality and his fire come out this week. He went back at Sean Payton, was not afraid to, and it seems like Sean Payton likes that and responded well, so I think it just shows how they're clicking, even though that seemed like a heated moment. I personally liked it, and I feel like it's a good sign for the Broncos.
Well, earlier this week, head coach Sean Payton spoke about the improved play and what he's seen from his rookie quarterback, Bo Nix.
Processing the defense, my experience is, and it's the hardest thing always for us to evaluate, with some of the college players, getting through a progression quickly and a decision quickly is extremely helpful at avoiding taking unnecessary sacks. Now, if you're processing slowly and you're having to see it longer, then it's just another one Mississippi with a ball in your hand. So aside from, obviously, he can move, but his ability to process helps that greatly.
Another thing that impresses me about Bo Nix is his ability to prevent those turnovers and not give up those interceptions. The Broncos defense, on the contrary, is really good at getting those turnovers. How impressed have you been with the way Vance Joseph has really pulled this defense together?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, I know there's been a lot of talk about last year versus this year, and last year was a long time ago, and Vance Joseph has said that repeatedly. But when you look at the start of last year's season versus this year's season, it's been exactly what this team wanted, which is to start fast, not have that lull early in the season, help this team to wins. I mean, if you look at the Super Bowl 50 defense, which is obviously a legendary unit, this group is actually allowing fewer yards and fewer points through 5 weeks. And so that kind of speaks to the job that they're doing. They are forcing turnovers at a really high rate. And they're also playing good defense even when they don't get turnovers, which a year ago maybe was not the case. So it feels sustainable, and it does feel like this weekend's game in particular may come down to which defense is able to make a play.
Yeah, exactly. 2 great defenses going up against each other this week. The Broncos, we've talked about it week after week. They have kept the team in every game and given them a chance to win with those takeaways. They are ranked 3rd in total defense, tied for 2nd in scoring defense. And when your defense can score points, like Sean Payton has said, puts the whole team in obviously a much better spot.
Yeah, and Zach Allen has 12 QB hits this season. How do you guys see them containing Justin Herbert?
Yeah, I think, one, don't tell Pro Football Focus that Zach Allen's playing that well, because his rating keeps dropping every week, even though he's playing tremendous football. They do need to get pressure on Justin Herbert, and a stat I saw this week was that each year of Justin Herbert's career, his passer rating has gone down against pressure. Obviously, he's battling an injury still, that ankle, he's admitted it's not going to be 100% this week. If you can get after Justin Herbert, hit him a couple times, maybe make him play on the run, I think you're going to put yourself in a good position to maybe force some turnovers, get some more of those. Obviously, Pat Surtain had a pick 6 against him a few years ago here. I'm sure he'd love another one. But, yeah, that's the key, is get pressure on Justin Herbert and make him make mistakes.
Exactly. Justin Herbert doesn't give up many takeaways or many opportunities to throw the ball away, but one thing they can do is test his mobility because, like you said, that ankle is not 100%. So if they can get after him, make him try to make some plays with his feet, I think that's going to be huge in this matchup.
Justin Herbert has had less than 180 passing yards over the last 4 games so far this season. They're obviously coming off that bye week. One thing they've really been relying on is the running game, and I feel like the Broncos' rushing defense has really been able to contain that. Now, the Broncos have been dominant this season, in part to linebacker Nick Bonito. I caught up with Bonito this week to talk about the mile-high magic that this defense has been able to produce and how they are preparing to take on the Los Angeles Chargers. Nick, you have had a sack in the last 3 games. What has been working so well for you?
Just knowing the rush plan throughout the week. You know, our coaches do a good job of giving us a rush plan and just making sure I'm rushing well with the other guys like Zach on the inside, JFM, DJ, all those guys. So just working as a unit.
You guys have had a lot of success pressuring the quarterback. How do you approach this matchup with Justin Herbert?
Yeah, I mean, Justin's, you know, he's obviously a great quarterback. He's been doing this for a little while now. So just trying to get pressure on him. Definitely, you know, got to know rush plan this week because, you know, he's not going to be a guy that's going to get a lot of depth in his drop. So I'm just trying to cage him in, make it time hard for him, and just get after him.
It's been a big focal point of this defense to stop the run. What's the key to slowing down J.K. Dobbins?
Yeah, just make it dark for him, man. I mean, the guys inside are doing a really good job of not getting, you know, these guys that we've been playing no run lanes to go through. So that just them keeping it up and making it easy for us on the outside to continue to make plays in the run game, it'll be really good.
You guys had a really impressive game against the Raiders. What can you say about Vance Joseph and the way this defense has come together?
Yeah, Coach Vijay is doing an amazing job. You know, obviously he's getting us to play at a high level every week. You know, he's motivating us, you know, every week, making sure that we know what we're doing, communicating in practice, practicing hard, all those little things so that we have success on Sunday.
What's been the biggest difference between last year and this year with this defensive unit?
I think everybody just knowing their jobs. Like, I feel like everybody knows their jobs, like in the back of their head. Everybody's communicating all the time. It's not really any bust. So, I mean, just everybody knowing their job, playing hard every day is going to be critical for us.
Pat Surtain had said that when you get wins in the division, it sets you up for what you guys want to do later. Having back-to-back division rivals, is there added motivation there?
Oh, 100%. You want to get all these games, of course, because, I mean, the more division games you win, it's going to be easier to make it into the playoffs. So, I mean, definitely just continue to win these divisional games. It's going to mean a lot for us, the fans, and just, you know, us trying to go to where we're going to go.
Appreciate your time, Nick, and best of luck on Sunday.
Yes, thank you.
You look at this defensive front with Jonathan Cooper, Zach Allen, and Nick Bonito, and the way they've been able to really get after the quarterback.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Nick Bonito is on a little bit of a tear right now, a sack in 3 consecutive games. He's playing really good football. I think this is what we hope to see from him coming into the season. And listen, the divisional games, they're important. You have to find ways to get wins. It's something that even over the last few years as the Broncos found success, they were not doing. The last 3 years before Sean Payton arrived, 3-15 in divisional games. Since Sean Payton has gotten here, 4-3. So that speaks to the improvements that Sean Payton has made with this team. They got to keep it going this weekend against the Chargers.
Sean Payton has said that not many teams do big things that don't do well in their division, which I think speaks for itself. Of course, the rivalries are fun against the Raiders, but I do think that's a bit more for the fans. The players just see this as a division game that they need to win. Pat Surtain said after that last win on Sunday against the Raiders that these division wins are just going to set them up for the long run, set them up for the playoffs, get them a better seed. I know it's a little early to be talking playoffs, but it does help tremendously to get these divisional wins.
Well, we're going to see the number 1 scoring defense up against the number 2 scoring defense. Obviously, the Broncos having held that title at number 2. When we come back, Denver 7's Brady King will be joined by Hall of Famer Steve Atwater to break down Bo Nix's game. Plus, we'll reveal the numbers to know ahead of Week 6. That's coming up next.
Bank better with Broncos checking from Ent Credit Union, the official banking partner of the Denver Broncos.
You know, I've been able to make strides just in 5 weeks, but got to continue to find those areas of improvements each game. And, you know, you're always going to look back and want a few back and make some mistakes in games and wish you could do them different. But that's why you play again and again. And so just being consistent, I think, is the main thing, and continue not to turn the ball over and put your team in a good spot.
Welcome back. That was quarterback Bo Nix talking about how he is preparing for another divisional matchup at home. For more, let's check in with Hall of Famers Steve Atwater and Brady King.
Thanks, Elisa. Now, Steve, we've been breaking down a lot of defenses lately, but today is all about the offense and the rookie quarterback, Bo Nix, able to come up with 206 passing yards and 2 touchdowns against the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday. He was super aggressive and fun to watch in the second half specifically.
Yes.
And honestly, the rookie's been impressive over the past 5 weeks. He's definitely making improvements each week. Would you agree?
Yeah, he's definitely settled down and really gotten a tight grasp of this offense. Here, we're going to see a play where the defense, the Raiders are lined up in a cover 2 defense here. They're going to play cover 2 with this linebacker. He's going to get a little bit more depth in a kind of a Tampa 2 coverage. And as you'll see, the receivers are going to run their routes, not get affected too much. And Bo Nix actually is going to be able to get to the outside and break the contain that they have over there. As you see, little Jordan Humphrey here, he's able to break out back behind the 2 underneath guys and make a great catch. But the throw is what was amazing.
Yeah.
Right here, you're going to see that offensive line is going to make the clean pocket for him right there, and he's able to go outside to contain, and actually got outside a great guy, Max Crosby there, and get the pass over to little Jordan Humphrey. But just a great play on his part.
His accuracy has continued to get better and better as we're seeing. You know, in the first couple weeks, a couple overthrows, maybe just out of reach for receivers or behind receivers. I feel like what we've seen specifically this past week is that the accuracy is improving for Bo.
Yes, and he's throwing tight spirals and everything. This is going to be a run play here, and Bo Nix, he's going to drop back to pass, and guess what? Nobody's open. The safety dropped down on the receiver, and the corner went with the other receiver, and Bo Nix took off. He knew where the first down was, and he was able to get that first down and keep the ball moving and keep that offense on a nice roll there.
Bo Nix is sneaky fast. I think you see that on this play right here. Nothing's open. I mean, he checks all of his progressions. He goes through it, but he doesn't panic. I like that he sees the open lane and takes off with his feet. He has made several plays with his feet this season. He had a rushing touchdown this past weekend, and he's had several already so far. I just think his mobility is so huge for this team.
It really is.
When the pass isn't there, he's able to run and get a first down.
I agree with that, and I think a lot of people underestimate that. They don't know how fast he is. You'll see these offensive linemen, they're fighting until the whistle. I didn't see that earlier in the season. I see it now. They're playing to the whistle. Very important, especially when you have a quarterback who can get out of the pocket and make things happen.
Yeah, and that right there is why Bo Nix is such a tough sack. Sean Payton has said it over and over and over again. He's hard to sack, which is great. He was sacked 3 times against the Raiders, which is more than they'd like, but you got to give credit to this O-line. That's not
the O-line has been, they've done their job amazingly.
Not an easy job.
Yes. Okay, we have another pass play here. On this particular play, Bo Nix drops back, and you'll see that this cover 1 coverage, and Cortland Sutton is one-on-one with the guy up top here, and he's going to make a great, they call it a 50-50 ball, but Cortland Sutton, it's like an 80-20 ball. He gets a majority of those. But Bo Nix, notice that he's in man-to-man coverage and drops a perfect dime to Cortland Sutton. He makes the catch, big play, and man, spent the ball, made a little bit of showboating there. But again, that offensive line gave him time to do that. He didn't have pressure in his face right away. So just a wonderful play by Bo Nix, and Cortland Sutton on the other end receiving it.
All around, I feel like the receivers are starting to help Bo out, which has been big. You know, he's obviously a rookie starting to settle in. Not the jitters, I think, are out at this point. Now it's just getting that accuracy and having his teammates help him out.
That's right.
I think we're seeing. Well, Steve, as always, I appreciate your breakdown. Elisa, we'll send it back to you with the numbers you need to know.
Thanks, guys. The Broncos notched their first divisional win in Week 5 and now welcome another division opponent in Week 6. The Broncos will host the Chargers, who are coming off their bye week. The Broncos are 45-18-1 versus the Chargers at Empower Field at Mile High. They have won 7 of the last 10 matchups. We did a deep dive and we found the numbers you need to know. Week 6 will see a matchup between the Chargers #1 and the Broncos #2 ranked defenses so far in the 2024 season. Through the first 5 games of the season, the Broncos have allowed fewer points per game and total yards per game than Denver's 2015 defense. The Broncos pass rush has generated 19 sacks, third most in the NFL, 41 QB hits, second most, and 75 QB pressures, which is third most in the NFL in 2024. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert's passer rating when pressured has declined each season of his career. Outside linebacker Nick Bonito has had a sack in each of the last 3 games and needs one more sack to become the first Bronco since 2021 to record at least 1 sack in 4 straight games. Herbert this season has 5 passing TDs and 1 interception, but has had fewer than 180 passing yards in all 4 games in 2024. Broncos quarterback Bo Nix will face his biggest test yet, facing the NFL's #1 scoring defense. Since 2000, rookie starting QBs have only won 6 of the 32 matchups. Nix became the first rookie in franchise history to win 3 straight starts. In Week 5, Nix set career highs in completion percentage, passer rating, passing TD, and pass yards per attempt. Versus the Raiders, 11 different Denver players had at least 1 reception, which set a single-game franchise record. Nix continues to be a dual threat and is one of 7 rookies since the 1970 merger with 3+ passing touchdowns and 3+ rushing TDs over his team's first 5 games of the season. Chargers outside linebacker Khalil Mack leads the Chargers with 2.5 sacks and 4 QB hits this season. Mack has 13 sacks in 13 career games versus the Broncos, his most versus any opponent. 12 of the last 15 matchups in the Mile High City versus the Chargers have been decided by 1 score. Looking at the running game, the Broncos defense looks to slow down Chargers' J.K. Dobbins. Dobbins is averaging 6.1 yards per rushing attempt this season, which is the 3rd most of any player in 2024. The Broncos defense ranks 10th in rushing defense. Jumping to the Broncos backfield, starting in all 5 games, Javonte Williams leads the Broncos with 190 rush yards in 2024. In Week 5, Williams recorded his most scrimmage yards in a game since Week 12, 2021. The Chargers currently rank 6th in rushing defense. When we come back, Denver 7's Brady King will have your fantasy focus for Week 6 and will reveal which players versus the Chargers will call game. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll be right back.
Welcome back into Broncos Weekend. It is time for Fantasy Focus. I cannot stress enough how good the Denver defense has been in this 3-game win streak. According to Fantasy Pros, the Broncos are ranked 3rd among all fantasy football defenses, and they've got the numbers to back up all the hype. 19 sacks, 5 interceptions, 3 fumble recoveries, 2 safeties, and 1 touchdown. Through 5 games, the Denver D has scored 58 fantasy points, which shakes out to about 11.6 points per game. Aside from Week 1 against the Seahawks when they allowed 26 points, the Broncos haven't allowed more than 18 in a game since. And as we've mentioned, Week 6 against the Chargers will be won in the trenches, as both teams enter with top 5 defenses. Pat Surtain II was named AFC Defensive Player of the Week for the 2nd time in his career, following his 2-pick performance against the Raiders. And we can't forget about the guy opposite of PS2, Riley Moss. He recorded his first takeaway of his NFL career on Sunday. And Riley Moss is certainly learning from the best. We caught up with PS2 on his success so far this season and how he plans to build upon it.
You know, I mean, I'm not my best self at the end of the day, but I'm still working to obtain that, and I'm still working towards those goals because that's the end mark for me, is to be a future Hall of Famer, but I know I have a lot more work to do to get there. So, yeah, like I said, I'm just keep on working and honing in on my craft.
Pat Surtain II has been on a tear this season, really putting on a clinic on how you cover the #1 receivers in this league. It's scary to think that he has another layer to unlock.
Yeah, I mean, if he's even better, that's pretty good for this Broncos defense, right? I think Pat Surtain, the exciting thing about him is it's not just the talent, right? It's also the work ethic. It's also the film study. He comes into these games ready to go. He's almost better when he has a #1 receiver to go up against as opposed to kind of just another guy out there. But listen, the way he played last week against the Raiders, I think you can hope to see that more and more because he's a guy who knows he's not going to get many opportunities. And so when he does, he's ready to take advantage. You saw it on the pick 6. You saw it on the play where he deflects a pass intended for Brock Bowers to himself and picks it off. I mean, just extreme athleticism there. It's been really impressive. He became just the second Broncos corner in franchise history to win multiple Player of the Week honors. So it just speaks to what a high level he's playing at right now.
Pat Surtain said that his speed was a little bit underestimated when he entered the league, which does surprise me. I don't know who is underestimating Pat Surtain. Certainly not me, but some people, I guess, at some point were. But the fact that he's been able to prove people wrong has been extremely fun to watch, especially with that 100-yard pick six against the Raiders. I feel like that was a highlight career moment for him, and he just continues to prove that he is one of, if not the best corner in the game.
Yeah, well, in Week 12, 2021, he had 2 interceptions and a pick six against the Chargers. So hopefully he can recreate some of that magic once again as we go into another divisional game at home versus the Los Angeles Chargers. So we all know that we have a segment called Call Game each week, and our amazing guests will pick a player that will call game. Now, Aric, you've been I feel like this is your favorite segment of the show. So it's Week 6. The team is hosting the Los Angeles Chargers. Who do you have calling game?
Yeah, I had Troy Franklin last week, and I saw it go through my fingers. I'm going to go off the wall again. I'm going to say Lucas Kroll is my candidate for call game. I think this is going to be a very tight game. I think it's going to come down to a play here or there. Maybe Lucas Kroll finds a way to get into the end zone. He obviously went to him last week over Greg Dulcich. Maybe they do that again this week. Maybe he finds a way to get in the end zone and is the difference in a win over the Chargers.
I love that. I'm going to say Bo Nix. I know that's not super outlandish, but I don't know if we've said him for call game yet this season. And I just feel like he said he's made strides every game the past 5 weeks. He really has made strides. He's made mistakes, but that's how he's got to learn. And I think he's continued to improve. And I want to see 4 full quarters of Bo Nix solid football. And I hope we get that on Sunday against Chargers.
Well, it's going to be really fun to watch, especially if they've been able to get this run game going. And again, those big playmakers on the field. It's going to be really exciting to see. Well, there you have it. We will see on Sunday exactly who calls game. And you can let us know who you have calling game. Make sure you guys tweet us. But for Denver 7's Brady King, Hall of Famer Steve Atwater, and our lead writer for DenverBroncos.com, Aric DiLalla, I am your host and Denver Broncos team reporter, Elisa Hernandez. And this is Broncos Weekend. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.